Koresh. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Saturday. This is Devils After Dark, coming to you live from the Primetime Radio studios here in an undisclosed location in New Jersey at the Bunker, and beaming him in from Beverly Hills, California, one of the richest estates in one bedroom apartment history. Scotty of Sirius XM Liquid Metal, streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network, as the Florida Panthers clawed their way back to this game, beating the Devils 4-2. I know a lot of fans are upset, a lot of hysteria on the social media. I have not added my 2 cents in because I just don't want to pour gas on the flames right now. But
what?
Scotty,
you, the greatest heel in the history of hockey Twitter? There's no way you can do that, Sam Wu.
No. I'm just unoriginal. I just don't want to copy other people, you know. That's all I do all day is just rip off the masses. You know, I can't think for myself, so I'd rather just keep my mouth shut and keep everybody happy. No, I'm just kidding around. Just didn't get a chance to it yet. But, you know, it's just it was depressing a little bit. It was a tease because it looked like the officiating, the referees at the Philadelphia Carolina Hurricanes, of Flyers and Hurricanes, it seems like the refs gave the game to the Hurricanes. But we'll go over all that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a disappointing afternoon here for us Devils fans, you know, not only with our game, but, the Canes coming back and tying up the Flyers literally with 0.3, not 3 seconds, 0.3 seconds to go after the Flyers take a late holding call there, I think, which might have been a little questionable. And the Canes pull it off with a 6-on-4, and then they end up winning it in OT. So a doubly bad day here, as the Devils then harpoon themselves and really waste an incredible effort by one Akira Schmid in this game. If there can be some positives from this game, it's Akira Schmid. That's for damn sure. But let's talk about it right now, Sam Wu. Game number 69. Hey-oh! On the road, Florida Panthers. News before the game, Nolan Foote called up. He didn't get in the lineup. He was scratched for this game. A couple different lineup changes, though, for the lines. You know, Akira Schmid back in there again, which a lot of us were expecting. Palat was moved up to line 2. Timo was moved down to line 3. Bratt back to line 2. And Boquist to line 3. Brendan Smith, Mr. Penalty, back in the game. Kevin Ball out. So we see that platoon continuously going there. And even though he had some bad plays here in this game, one that really ended up costing the Devils that, tell you the truth, honestly, I was a fan of at the time until it really made a significant damage done there, is Damon Severson. We forgot to mention this. He passed Andy Green for the all-time Devils leader in defensemen in assists last game. So congratulations to Damon for that. Of course, he took a bad penalty, a little late in this game, even though I kind of liked the physicality of it, but the end result of it was not very good. And another thing to point out, too, Dougie Hamilton has been starting to rack up some hits, so maybe he's taken a lesson from Curtis Lazar, who disappeared from the game in the third period. And by the way, because I know this is someone I was on at the beginning of the season, Thomas Tatar. I don't know if you know this or not, Sam Wu, but he is third overall, and damn it to hell, the Rangers scored at the end of the period. I almost said a word I shouldn't say that begins with mother. So, I got to watch myself because I'm getting a little frustrated over here. Keeping it clean for the kids over here. But a little note there. Thomas Tatar is third in the league in plus minus. Not on the Devils. No. Third in the league. He's at like as of last night, he was at a plus 38. I don't know what he's at today after this game. But either way, let's talk about it right here now. Devils, you already know the end. This is the first time we are winless in 3 straight games since November, Sam Wu. So let's get into it. First period was definitely the Akira Schmid show. I got to look to see here. How many shots did the Panthers have? 16 shots in the first friggin' period. Not the first half of the game. Insane. The first period. And boy, did Akira Schmid come up huge. It started about 5 minutes into it. They had a quick kind of partial 2-on-1 there, feed across to Colton White, which he made a big save on. Timo and Haula, that third line, which I thought had some really good looks on it. Timo had a shot that went just wide there on a partial 2-on-1 from there. Schmid, another nice shot, another nice stop on Barkov in tight. And I had it written down here, Schmid, 13 saves in the first 13 minutes. And obviously it didn't stop there for the Florida Panthers. They were out hustling the Devils through that first period. And what did the Devils have? They came back at the end, but I think at a moment there, it was something like 12-3 or 13-4 in shots at one point in the first period. They ended up getting 11, but still, it was pretty bad there for quite some time. Akira Schmid, another big save on Duclair right in the front of the net. That was huge. I will give a shout-out to Jonas Siegenthaler and the Gravy Train for showing some beef in the first period. I think it was friggin' Lumberg. It's like Office Space. Did you ever see Office Space, Sam Wu? Can we make some Lumberg? Yeah. I'm going to have you come in and work this weekend, Sam Wu. Oh, Sam Wu just went away. He just... Yeah. Did you get those TPS reports, Sam Wu? I'm going to have to make you come in and work a little late this weekend. Yeah. Lumberg! You slept with Lumberg? He's my evil boss! Unholy! Sam Wu has gone away. So I guess he's never seen Office Space. Or perhaps he's right now mad about his stapler and going to burn down the building. But either way, Siegs and the Gravy Train, I got to say, we're stepping in there and clearing some space in front of Akira Schmid. I think it was Lumberg. It took a little shot at Akira Schmid's glove after a glove save. And by the way, Akira Schmid, something we talked about with Vitek Vanacek, letting those rebounds out there everywhere. Akira Schmid, man, does he gobble them up. He has got such good rebound control. And there were a couple times in this game, I think twice, where he actually, and I know I made a note of it somewhere. Oh, coming up right here. Yeah. Schmid, save on Kachuk. Then Schmid kicks the rebound out of the danger zone away from any Florida player. And he did it later in the game as well to get it out of the zone. I think it was at the end of the second period when the Panthers were on a power play. He kicked the puck completely out of the zone, what brought the end of the period there. So Akira Schmid has been money, but really love seeing Ryan Graves step up there, get a little dirty. Jonas Siegenthaler. We know about Lazar. Brendan Smith, even though he took some penalties, but we know Brendan Smith is always going to take penalties. But he was throwing the body around a little bit. Dougie Hamilton as well. Good side. Eric Haula throwing that out there. Oh, that's right. Brendan Smith had a huge hit on Reinhart. Finishing the checks today, boys. That's what it's talking about. And Lazar bringing the beef. He flattened Stahl in the corner over there. The Devils did end up getting a late penalty, a late power play there in the second. But to be quite honest with you, I was a little upset about it because it was a phantom holding call. And all I'm thinking is I don't want those type of calls going against the Devils. They obviously didn't make anything happen on it. But you heard Ken Danico, if you watched this game on the MSG broadcast, stand up to the Panthers. Because the Panthers, basically what we're saying, the Panthers are all roar and no bite. They like to play physical, but not a lot of the guys on that team are going to drop the gloves. And I really will say that the Devils, stood their ground on a lot of spots today. And I thought that was really good. The Panthers want to intimidate, but they won't drop the gloves a lot of times. And that's, kind of a way the game is these days, with not as much fighting in there. But we know from earlier in the season, when the Panthers took the exception to Nico Hischier and that freak injury that happened to Barkov, and they were just chipping them all games, on those 2 games, all games long. The Devils weren't standing up for themselves. Today they were. And so I do like seeing that. Smith then took a cross-checking penalty behind the net in the defensive zone, and I'm thinking, oh boy, here we go. But it is the captain. It is the captain coming through with his 3rd short-handed goal of the year to get everything going. And I do believe we need to go to the Devils After Dark Let's Go Devils podcast studio for an update from the greatest heel in the history of hockey Twitter. And yes, the king of the football calls himself, Sam by God Woo.
Devils, Panthers, down at Sunrise for a marquee matchup of the Eastern Conference. Second quarter, Devils, Panthers, tied up at 0. Graves snaps it to Marino. Marino scrambles to the left sideline. He finds Hischier to the 50, the 40, 30, 20, 10. Touchdown, Devils! Touchdown, Devils! Kachuk, you suck! And the Devils take a 1-0 lead. Are you ready, New Jersey?
Woo, baby! What a football! Kachuk, you suck! Wow. All right. If we play Florida again at the Rock, we know what chance we need to start getting going over there. Very nicely done by the greatest heel in the history of hockey Twitter, and yes, the king of the football calls, Sam by God Woo. 3rd shorthanded goal for the captain, and what a nice play it was. Graves to Marino. Of course, they were on the PK when this happened. Shorthanded goal. And Graves to Marino behind the net. And Marino was literally just trying to wrap the puck around. And I can't remember which Florida defenseman was there at the point, but it took a little bit of a funny bounce. And man, that is all Nico needed. He turned on the afterburners, and it was just boom. He was flying forward. Sharon Govich was catching up, but I don't think there was any way that Nico was going to pass this puck up because the other Florida, I can't remember who it was, but they were kind of with Sharon Govich. Just want to say partial 2-on-1, but man, Nico rocketed this one far side. He was coming up the left wing. He shot a far side under the glove of Bobrovsky. Just a beautifully placed puck right there into the net. I think it kind of ka-chinged off the post a little bit as well, if I'm not mistaken. But number 29 on the year for your captain, inching closer and closer to that 30-goal plateau. And everything Nico does is a career high. He's on his career high with points, with assists, and with goals. So, yes, crappy L today, but something we've been seeing from this team is all of these young studs are all this should be a trend as well. Each year, these guys are going to be starting to put up another career year, and another career year, because they're all entering their prime. So Nico is just one goal away from that magical number of 30. And if it does happen, which I think it will before the end of the season, Then you got Jack, you got Timo, you got Nico, and don't forget, Jesper Bratt's not that far behind with 27. You got Dawson Mercer with 22. He might end up, probably above 25. And Dougie Hamilton sitting there with 18. Wouldn't be surprised to see Dougie break 22 by the end of this season. But what a shot by the captain to put the Devils up 1-0. And oops, I got to look and see exactly what time that happened over here. Second period at 2:16. Short-handed goal right there. Nico is 29th. John, don't call me Dan, laces out, isotoner gloves. Marino gets his 9th assist. The gravy train. I'm going off the rails on a gravy train. Just got docked a bunch of woo bucks right there, but his 16th assist on the season for the Devils. And then Akira Schmid, woo, baby. Some more big saves. And I don't know about you, I've said this a couple times now, but Akira Schmid, he goes down in that butterfly. He's got the butterfly, but then he kind of puts the blocker and the paddle down, a la old school Marty Brodeur, kind of along the ice over there. But he just looks so big in goal, taking up so much space. Man, that kid looks good. And then the third line really came through. This newly put together third line of Eric Haula, Jesper Boqvist, and Timo Time. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that goal from Timo Meier. I kind of got a little, messed up over there. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me a goal from Timo Meier. Got to do the Hetfield. Yeah. Yeah. We're going to have to get a Hetfield sound effect every time Timo Meier puts a goal in over here. But, man, this was a crazy sequence going on for this second goal from the Devils. And I got it all out of order because there was so much happening here. I couldn't write it down fast enough. But it started, actually, with Jesper Boqvist making a diving effort to keep the puck in the zone for the Devils. Okay? Hard working on the forecheck. And then the puck is sort of coming out. Jesper's like, nah, I'm diving. And I'm going to get it and keep it in the zone there to keep the Panthers pinned in, because the second period was very much in the Devils' favor. Kind of one of those old school Devils second periods where they just dominate all the way through. Timo Meier was then at the side of the net. He gets the puck and does, like our good friend Captain Bill Spaulding likes to say, the old turn and burn, where he receives the puck and then just kind of rotates and boop, gets a shot on goal. Doesn't go in. Brendan Smith then comes, gets the rebound of that loose puck and lets a rocket go, and it hits off the post and then off of Bobrovsky, and it's just kind of around in the crease over there. The Panthers defense is crashing in there. Bobrovsky's on the ground. Timo's trying to dig for it, but no one could really seem to find the puck. Oh, it's out the other side, and Damon Severson has it along the boards, and instead of shooting it, he passes it across to Jesper Boqvist, and Bobrovsky tries to get across and get into position, but Boqvist buries it there for his 8th of the season at 7:43 of the second period. Damon Severson picks up yet another assist now. I think that's 199 for the career for Damon Severson, his 20th of the year at 7:43 of the Devils, of the second, yeah. But the Devils, really, after that first period of getting outshot so much, they ended up evening up the shots by halfway through the second period. They had a big PK where they broke up a huge opportunity near the end of it for the Florida Panthers. I mean, I can't remember who it was, but they had a wide open lane right down the center there, right down Main Street, Hoboken, down what is that? Washington Ave, Washington Street there, right down Hoboken, and the Devils were able to clog up that hole at the last second, and yeah, really, really good play by them. Severson made a big block and a clear a little bit later after that, and then you know what? I'm a little confused on this one. Maybe we'll have to go to the rule book. We'll have to call our lawyers in on this. I can't remember who we said. Sharon Govich, Boquist. I can't remember who our lawyer team is on this one, but Lumberg, he was kind of blocking the bench door for Damon Severson, and the Devils got called for too many men on the ice. And Severson really rocked him, I got to say, because Severson's going to the bench, and Lumberg is kind of like just standing in the way over there. And Severson flattened him. And I'm like, okay, I like that. But then they got called for too many men on the ice. How is that not an interference, though? Because Lumberg was he was just blocking the bench door. Like, the puck wasn't over there. He wasn't in the play or anything like that. He was literally just standing there blocking the bench door for Severson to get off the ice. I'm not really sure how that wasn't just a 1-on-1, 4-on-4 play. But I don't know. We're going to have to consult our lawyer team again on that one because the Panthers do get that power play right there. That was the one at the end of the second period, and Schmid came up huge with about, I think, 3 saves in a quick sequence over there. And the very last one is the one where he kicked it completely out of the zone with like maybe 7 seconds left in the period. He got rid of that rebound, and he kicked it way out of the zone. No way the Panthers can get it, get everyone back on sides, and, period ended like that. A little bit of a scramble there, but Akira Schmid, 30 saves through 2 periods. Holy hell. That was something. Unfortunately, the third period came along, and everything was fine, except for about a 2.5-minute span there where the Panthers somehow or another got 3 goals, just bing, bang, boom. At 6:14 of the third, some puck luck for them. Barkov got his 18th, and what this really was Montour fired a headhunter shot from the point, and I don't know where it hit Mark Stahl. Like, hit him like in the back of the neck or something, but no one knew where the puck went. I don't know if it rolled down like into his equipment for a hot second, but he went down onto the ice, and he looked a little dinged up over there. And I don't know where that puck came from, but it just kind of showed up right on the stick blade of Barkov, who obviously not the person you want to have that on there, but either way, a lucky puck bounce there for the Florida Panthers gets them their first goal at 6:14 of the third. Then Damon Severson, I wrote here, I liked the physical play. It was almost like old school hockey from the 90s before all these interference calls came in. When if a forward is bringing the puck up, you can play the body. And Bennett is bringing the puck up and he passes, and Damon Severson just boom takes him out of the play. Nowadays, that's an interference call. I liked it at the moment, because Severson, again, much like he did to Lumberg in the second, he flattened Bennett. But nowadays, that's an interference call. So I wrote down here, interference penalty, like the physical play of taking Bennett down. And literally, as I was writing that, the friggin' Panthers scored. On a tip, which I don't think you can fault Akira Schmid on any of these first 2 goals. Not even really the third one either. We'll talk about that in a minute. But, this was a tip, shot from the point. Again, I think it was Montour again. And Reinhart just got a tip. You can see the change of direction on it. And no bueno. Game tied 2-2 at 7:54 of the third. So just about a minute and 30 seconds later there on the power play. And the Devils' PK has been so strong. It's been one of the best parts of their game recently. But Reinhart gets his 25th. And then, what's this? 50 seconds later at 8:44, Kachuk, you suck, according to the king of the football calls there, Sam Wu. This one was a bad play by the defense because Kachuk And I believe this one was Damon Severson as well. They both kind of, I can't remember who it was, but both defensemen went to one Florida Panthers forward. And we've seen this happen a number of times where the other guy just gets loose right behind the defense. And this time it was Tkachuk who gets the puck on his stick and he puts it to his backhand, gets Akira Schmid going to his side. And Schmid was in position, but it would have been a really tough save because Tkachuk roofed it. He went high to make sure that he got it in there. And within 2.5 minutes, boom, 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 tic-tac-toe, the Panthers are now up 3-2. And I don't know if you can really fault Akira Schmid on any of those goals. The first two, lucky. I mean, the tip is really nice. I mean, I don't know how you could, that was, the Reinhart tip was really, really nice. The first one from Barkov, like I said, it hit Stahl like in the back of the neck, and just rolled down randomly. And this one you let friggin' Tkachuk loose alone behind the defense because two guys go to one forward. Sloppy defensive play right there. You can't leave Tkachuk like that. And he made the Devils pay, going to his backhand and going top shelf. So some bad play over there. The Devils played a gritty third period. They got some opportunities, but Bobrovsky came up big, and he shut him down. And then the Panthers ended up getting an empty netter there. Lindy did his Lindy thing, which I totally agree with. It was about 2:20, 2:10 left to go in the game, and he pulled Akira Schmid, and you can see Schmid was ready to go. Schmid was ready. He knew what was up. And we've all seen it numerous times throughout the season with the Devils pulling the goaltender and going 6-on-5 and being able to come up with a game-tying goal. But not tonight. And for the first time all season, the Devils lose when they go into the third period with a lead. In regulation. Regulation, I should say that. I think they were, I think that's what Bill Spaulding said, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it was with a 2-goal lead into the third period. But the Devils don't blow leads like that in the third. When they're up like that, they're usually winning games. Maybe they've had an OT loss. Maybe that's what it is. But this is the first time all season they blew a regulation lead like that in the third, lose the game, and the first time they are winless in 3 straight. I say winless because we got a point against Tampa Bay. But first time we are winless in 3 straight since November. And we all remember that month. Or was it December? What was our month of hell? Maybe it was a little bit over.
December.
Was it November? Was it
December?
Oh, December. I'm sorry. Okay.
Beginning of the season and December.
That was our month of hell.
Yeah.
Which we can't go into once again. And with Carolina getting the miracle comeback there with 0.3 seconds to go, and now the damn Rangers are up 2-0. I got the game here on my TV against Pittsburgh. Man, it's tough. That's real tough. Having a 2-0 lead like that with your goaltender playing lights out. And then having some unlucky goals, but then not being able to put another one in to seal the deal, or at least the friggin' Rangers just scored again. Damn it. Come on, Pittsburgh. You're playing for playoffs too over here. So, rough day going on so far in the old hockey world if you're a New Jersey Devils fan. One thing you can be excited about is the Devils did play a lot more physical. They did stand up to the Florida Panthers, which is good. And the play of Akira Schmid was excellent. Your 3 stars of the game, no Devils, Tkachuk, Reinhart, Barkov. Face-offs, wow, 50% each, split right down the middle. Devils are 0 for 2 on the power play. The Cats were 1 for 4. The Devils were out-hit, but they still played good physically, 39-20. 16 blocks for the Devils. Nice to see right there. Shots on goal for the Devils, 11, 12, 12 for the Slayer reigning blood tribute total of 35 raining pucks from the Devils on the ice. But unfortunately, the Panthers had 41, 16, 14, 11. Tough loss here for the New Jersey Devils when they really needed one, and it looked like they can get one here. They let this slide away. All because of a 2.5-minute span, basically. And how many times recently have we said, oh, we run into a goaltender that just can't be, that's just a crazy game. That was Akira Schmidt today. He was stoning the Florida Panthers through those first 2 periods. And I don't know how Sam Wu feels about it, but I really don't think you can get on him for any 3 of those goals. First one, the weird bounce off a stall. The second one, just a beauty of a tip by Reinhart. And the third one, you let an elite player alone behind the defense, and he's one-on-one with the goalie right in the slot. And he puts a top-shelf backhand home. Akira Schmidt made some incredible saves once again today. There were a lot of sequences where the Panthers were just peppering him. So if there is a positive from this game, it's definitely that goaltender. But defense, again, man, how can you let Kachuk get behind you like that? Brendan Smith, Damon Severson, I liked your physicality, but you both took penalties on them. How come Graves and Siegenthaler were able to get through it without taking those penalties? Just looking at, and I don't mean to harp on Brendan Smith, but just looking at his numbers, man, he is just a penalty machine through the years. This is his MO. Like, this is not surprising. He's up to 61 penalty minutes already. In like 50-some games. Yeah, in like 50-some games played. And every year, that's what he's averaging, like 70 or so penalty minutes a year. That's a lot. And it's not like he's dropping the gloves all the time. I know he has fought a couple times, but it's not like he's got like 8 or 9 fighting majors or something like that. I mean, he's got like 1 or 2 on the year. So, I don't know. I've liked what I've seen from Kevin Ball. He doesn't seem to take these sort of penalties, and he seems to be playing well. But Lindy's been going with this straight up, what's the word I'm looking for? Why can't I think of it? Not rotation. Come on, Samu. Help me out there.
I don't know
Platoon.
Platoon.
He's been going with this platoon. 1 game in, 1 game out. 1 game in, 1 game out. So I don't know. I'd like to know what you think about it. YouTube Live, Facebook Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch. Am I way off? Are we agreeing? What's going on here? Thank you, Selecta. I'm glad to see that we agree on that. Schmidt happens. But today, I don't think it was on Akira at all. Sam Wu, what say you about this game?
Believe it or not, I think there's a lot of positives.
Okay.
Again, some people will not agree with me, but I think there are a lot of positives here. Number one, the Devils show that they can play physical. Number two, because we're all thinking, I should have said this before we begin, we got to think about the playoffs. And this team could play physical with the Florida Panthers. The Panthers were just out-hitting them in the first period. But the Devils did not shy away. We talked about this many times in the last few years, about the Devils just shying away from intimidation. They weren't intimidated. I thought the Devils overall played pretty well. I think there was just lapses in judgment particularly in Damon Severson, who have been playing extremely well recently, and it cost the Devils the game. Akira Schmid, I think, should get the start for tomorrow, if you want my opinion. I thought he played awesome. You can't blame Schmid on all 3 goals. Matter of fact, when Tkachuk went in all alone, it's like, where's the help? There was none. They left their goalie out to dry. I mean, that's inexcusable. I thought Severson's penalties, well, in some ways in a lot of ways it's a bad thing, but in other ways, just, hey, at least he got the hit on. But we need to see more of these hits, and we need to see more of the Devils just controlling the tempo. Jesper Bratt, man, does he have the afterburners when you give him the puck. Jack Hughes, I don't know. I think Jack Hughes needs to sit for a couple games. There's still something not right about his game. I'm not talking about results in terms of scoring or assists. It just seems like he's a little off. And I think a lot of people have noticed that as well. I think it wouldn't be a bad thing to sit him down for a little bit for the playoffs, because he's logged in a lot of ice time, probably the most in his career. Again, probably unpopular, but, if I were Lindy Ruff, I'd be, a little worried about that. Now, in terms of Timo Meier, he had a nice shot there, but you got to tip your hat to the goaltender, because he was making outstanding saves, just like Akira Schmid was. So, but it's inexcusable to allow Matthew Tkachuk wide open.
Yeah.
Right in front of your goaltender. I mean, that just can't happen. But the good news is all this stuff is correctable. It was about a 3-minute span of just sloppiness, undisciplined plays, and maybe Lindy Ruff should have called a timeout at that point, for the very reason of to settle his team, the young team, down. And, again, Lindy Ruff, he has a lot of experience, but again, some of the things that he's been doing, I'm not quite sure about. But I did like the line combinations tonight, because it was a pretty well-rounded lines 1 through 4. But
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I kind of like Timo and Holla together. I thought they had some nice work there. To be honest with you.
Actually, I'd rather keep Timo away from Jack, because Jack needs to be shoot first. I think when Timo first came to the Devils, Jack, being the unselfish player he is, I think it kind of altered his game just a little bit, where he was just trying to get Timo going. But what makes Jack so special is when he is in a shoot-first mentality, he's just a different player. Just a much different player. And I think that's when Jack started to break out in this league, is when he started to have that shoot-first mentality, because it just frees everybody up. And even Timo had an impact on that third line. If you watched when the third line was out, I mean, it freed up Holla and Boquist.
Yeah.
Because they had one person focused, one defenseman focused on Meier the entire time. And if that person wasn't focused, the other D guy was. And if you just watched the play, they were all concerned about Meier, which allowed Holla and Boquist to do their thing. And Boquist, that second goal where they worked their butts off, credit Meier, Boquist, and Holla on that. They just did not quit. And that's what the Devils have to keep on doing. You know, forget about those 3 minutes. I know the Devils are now technically on a 3-game losing streak right now, going to play Tampa tomorrow. But you know what? Let's get the losing out now. If you remember Devils Stanley Cup teams in years past, they would have a bad March. Let's flush out all the bugs, errors, all that kind of stuff within the Devils, and prepare for the playoffs. So, hard loss, but there were still a lot of good things to talk about, believe it or not.
I feel like Nico had a really strong game as well.
Oh, he was excellent.
Which is not a surprise, but I thought he had a really strong game. Akira Schmid, I know we talked about it the other day, but Akira Schmid may have almost cemented himself in that 1A position here right now. I mean, I don't know how you can – I mean, I know it's back-to-back games, but the way he played today through those first two periods, and even the third period as well, I mean, like we've said, I don't know if you could put any of those 3 goals on him. He was excellent. He was excellent today. And you're talking about a rookie who's coming up out of nowhere, that didn't have a ton of hype around him. It's not like he was just, we got to get Akira Schmid. Like the way that this guy is developing, he just might be one of those steals, a la Jesper Bratt.
Yeah.
And I've been so impressed with him, and I just love how big he looks in that goal. Even when he's down on his knees in that butterfly, he still takes up that entire goal. And I just love that. And I love seeing that blocker down, old school Marty Brodeur style. It's like he's a combination of Patrick Waugh and Marty Brodeur.
Yep.
He's down on his knees in the butterfly, but he's got the blocker also along down the ice a lot of times as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know. If there's anything that I can take out from this game was, I like some of the physicality, although we got to see what's up with Lazar because he didn't finish the game. I don't know if it was just, maintenance, repairs, skates or something like that, or if he did get dinged up. The Devils did call up Nolan Foote. We don't have any word on Miles Wood injury. It's still undisclosed. We know Bastian is a UBI, but not sure how long he's going to be out for. Mm-hmm. But overall, I got to say, I liked the way the line combinations were. I think you're on the money with Jack Hughes. There is something lingering there that needs to be kind of settled. And I don't know if Jack is just saying, I want to go out there because he's a gamer.
Yeah.
But he may need a day or two off here. He may very well need a day or two off just to rest up some nagging injuries. Because how many times, Sam, did we see Jack Hughes walk in down that wing and be able to shoot that puck far side top corner this season? I mean, multiple times he was burying goals like that early on. And now it just seems like there's not as much on that shot. So curious to see if he does need some time off. Take it now, Jackie boy. Take it now and rest up. But this is a hard day for the Devils. With Carolina squeaking that out. And now being, up to 98 points? If the Flyers beat them and the Devils won, they would have flip-flopped. And you would have had your first place New Jersey Devils there. So it's a tough day on all fronts. And like Sam said, Florida played really good in that first period. They came out flying, which to be expected after they put up 7. They put up a friggin' touchdown in the first 10 minutes of the game yesterday or the day prior. So you knew they were going to come out smoking tonight. And Akira Schmid withstood it all.
He
withstood it all.
It's a great sign.
That's a positive sign.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so happy about Schmid, and I think he needs to start tomorrow. They need to win tomorrow. We can't fool around with, the Devils can't fool around with Vanacek till he gets his game back. You can't put Vanacek in tomorrow. They probably will, but you got to go with Schmidt. He's the hot goalie right now, and you need points because now Carolina has that 3-point edge, and they got lucky tonight, but there's still time. I mean,
oh yeah,
Carolina just lost one of their better players. A couple days ago, was it the ACL injury? So, but just reading some of the tweets out there, like people are saying, why don't you, harp on Jack just like how you drag Meyer? It's like, stop it. You're not even listening to the podcast at all. So anyway,
yeah, we're not harping on Jack. We're just saying exactly what everyone else is seeing. I think everyone can see that he looks not like himself from earlier in the season.
Yeah.
And like we said, Jack is a gamer, and he's going to go out there and he's going to push it. And he wants to win. He doesn't like losing. And, yeah, maybe he needs to sit, but convincing him that he needs to come out of the lineup is going to be not an easy task.
Yeah.
Because he wants to go out there every single night and play.
I want to know if it's an injury. I want to know, Vinny and I were talking about that earlier on Game Day Live, whether it really did come from that Brady Tkachuk, horse collar play.
I think it has to have, because he hasn't been the same since that All-Star game.
Yeah.
He really hasn't. So I'm not sure if that is what it is, but I really do believe that that's when it happened.
Yeah.
So a Bush League move there in the All-Star game may have cost him. And I don't know. Like I said, I think it's going to be hard to convince Jack that he needs to come out of the lineup, because this is crunch time, end of the season.
Yeah, we're only saying that because there's a noticeable difference. It's don't know what it is. It's just
you can tell.
Yeah,
you can tell. Jack was firing in goals left and right. He's got 37 on the season, but I mean, I have to go and look at the rest of the numbers here. Since the All-Star break, he's just not been the exact same player. He's put up some assist numbers, but Jack Hughes was putting the puck in the net. And since the All-Star game, he hasn't scored very many goals.
Yeah.
So I think there's a little something to that. They'll never admit it, of course, because that's the way hockey is. But it's a tough L, especially with the lead, with a 2-goal lead going into the third period there. It's a tough L today. And it was really just, like a 2.5-minute span where a couple of puck bounces went Florida's way. And don't get me wrong, Florida worked hard this entire game, but man, Akira Schmid was up to the task.
Agreed.
You get the one off of Stahl's neck. You get the beauty of a tip from Reinhart, okay. And then you get the defensive lapse where you have Tkachuk all alone right in front of the net. All in a 2.5-minute span. So if I'm going to take positives from this game, it's Schmid, it's Nico. Really strong games. And also the play of Timo and Haula. If you have Timo down there on that third line there, then you are really, really rolling 3 lines. And, I think that's only good news for the New Jersey Devils right there. And Nico, his 3rd shorthanded goal of the year. Just love how that dude can play in every situation possible, no matter what. No matter what. Nico can be on the ice. That's a captain. And he's getting closer to that 30-goal mark. It'll be the first time in his career. And everything he does is a career high. And that's how a lot of Devils are this year. So it's a tough L, There are some good points to it, but man, not what we were expecting.
3 minutes of just mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got to play 60 minutes, Scotty.
Got to play 60. Details are right, Ariel. Details are right. JP, I said that last game that it was time to end the Jack Timo experiment. I kind of like Timo with Holla. I think he would do good with Nico as well. He looks a lot more comfortable out there on that wing position, I'll tell you that. He just looks like he's waiting for that big slap shot a lot of times. But I really liked what Holla, Boquist, and Timo brought as a line today. I thought they had some really, really good looks and opportunities. And that goal that they did produce, man, that was a hard-working goal. That was a real hard-working goal. Lots of forechecking. We mentioned it in the recap. It all started with Boquist diving to keep the puck in the zone at the blue line to keep the Panthers, pinned in there. Timo's side of the net, turn and burn. Brendan Smith, even though, man, it's just every game he's in, he takes a penalty. I know that's not the truth, but it definitely seems like it. It's just like, oh, Brendan Smith's in there. I bet you he'll take a penalty today. And Kevin Ball's been playing really well. So I'm not sure, why they're just straight up platooning them. Obviously, we're not in the locker room, so we don't know every single solitary detail. But, man, I've really liked the way Kevin Ball has developed this year. And don't forget, we signed Brendan Smith for 2 years. Ugh. I like that he comes to play, but he just takes too many bad penalties. And it's so consistent with them as well. It seems like every game he's in, he's taking a penalty. And you're like, come on, dude. You got to be a little smarter than that. And I know I'm here talking from my apartment, not out there on the ice, obviously. But you look at the numbers, and it is what it is. He takes a lot of penalties for a defenseman. That's not getting in a lot of fights. Yeah, Ronaldo, I agree. I think Ball's been playing really, really well right now. I think he's looked solid. I think he's starting to really use his size and his reach to his advantage, something that we were, talking about. Now, I will say this, in the last game, there was a moment where he stood someone up on Tampa Bay, and it did look like he jammed his arm a little bit. So maybe there's something to that. They wanted to rest him a little bit. That could be a possibility. That actually just popped into my head there. In the last game that he played, he did stand someone up on Tampa Bay, and he kind of like immediately went over a little bit. So maybe there's something there, hopefully not. But once Kevin Ball figured out, oh, I can outreach everybody because I'm like 7 feet tall, like his game has improved tremendously. And I think it's also helped him be a little more physical as well, without taking penalties every single game. And I know, like I said, I'm just a guy, I'm just a fan here talking from my apartment, and I'm not actually out there on the ice, so I apologize, Brendan. I know you're trying hard. I'm not saying that you're dogging it out there. But, man, today, that combo of Damon Severson and Brendan Smith was not a good one. And we've talked in recent weeks how good Damon Severson has looked on that, bottom pairing. But today, not the case. Not the case, Sam Wu.
Trying a little too hard. Not staying in his lane, Damon Severson.
Yeah.
Again, that's not a knock. It's just a constructive criticism. If he just plays a simple game, he's very effective. But once he starts to overextend himself, with unnecessary hits, unnecessary this, unnecessary, that's where Damon Severson gets himself in trouble.
Agreed. Very much agreed. But I did like the physical play from Siegs and Gravy Train today. I will say that. And I thought Marino had a good game too.
Yeah, I mean, Marino is not a big guy, but he stood his ground, so.
Yeah, he played smart today. It's starting to look like that John Marino prior to the injury that knocked him out there for a while. In the beginning of the year, we were like, John Marino, Fitzy, how the hell did he get Marino for just, Ty Smith going the other way? Oh, my God, this is such a great move. Ah! Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that stud over there.
John Marino.
Well, let's hope that he continues, to play well defensively. It's going to be interesting to see what Lindy does tomorrow with the goaltending. Does Schmid go back out there? Honestly, I think so. I think he should. The way he stood on his head today, he doesn't look tired. He looks ready to rock. And I know Sam Wu has mentioned this many times too. Akira Schmid doesn't get flustered when he's out there. He's very cool, calm, and collected.
Yep.
So if you're asking me, I'm saying roll that kid back out there. Because he played a hell of a game. Hell of a game. But we'll see. We'll see if there's any other changes. We got to get an update on Curtis Lazar. Will Nolan Foote be in the lineup tomorrow night? We will find out against his wasn't he was drafted by the Lightning, right? Didn't he came over in the Coleman trade, I believe, right?
Who's this?
Nolan Foote. Didn't he come from Tampa Bay for Pickles, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And the first round that eventually is Timo Meyer.
Yes. Yeah. And Sean, you're right. That's the plan. Hughes and Nemec might be on this team very soon. Although I think Michigan won today, right? They're a possible Frozen Four team as well. So we'll see what happens with those two guys when we get to it. But I know what we should get to right now, and that is you versus Woo. And that's right, Graham Clark as well. We can't just yank everyone out of Utica. But Graham Clark, I was hoping he would get a shot when he got called up, what was that, like a week or two ago? I was hoping he would get into Ronaldo. Did Holtz have a monster shot today? Okay.
Well,
I'm a big fan of Holtz's shot, but Holtz has got to clean up his stuff as well, because whatever it is, there are some things that the coaching staff just do not like.
Just think of both Holtz and Meyer manning the point on the power play or on a 6-on-4 on either side. So you got the howitzer on either side ready.
Yeah.
And
Man,
then you've got Jack Hughes, and Bratt to feed him the puck.
Man, Hughes and Hughes.
That would be it.
Luke and Jack. Woo, baby. Yeah, Swamp Fox. I think Severson is, after this year, he's gone. I'm not sure about Graves, but I can say that Shane Holtz needs a skating coach. That seems to be what everyone says here. So he's got to straighten that out. He is not someone you want to read about after next season saying that they're heading back to Sweden. One of those draft picks that, I'm going back to play in my home country. See ya.
Yeah.
That's not what we want to be reading about with Alexander Holtz, if he spends all of next season down there at the AHL. The Devils need Jack Hamilton. But we'll see. I think Steves is, I think this is his last season with the Devs. And I'm shocked that he didn't get moved at the trade deadline, tell you the truth. But either way, let's get to some U versus Woo score predictions. For this game this afternoon, we've been doing it all season long. Our good friend Dave Singer and his VictoryBucks.app TM, Timo Meyerd, is our new sponsor now on the year. Talking about our scores. Sam Wu and Ronaldo, you're right. We are crying right now with house money. And Michigan beat Minnesota 4-1. Okay, so they're still going. We are ahead of the game. We really are. I know a lot of people don't realize that, but yeah, we are 100% ahead of schedule right now. How many times have we said on this show, Sam Wu, that we all predicted the Devils would be in like the Pittsburgh and the Islanders position right now, or the Florida Panthers fighting for that last playoff spot, wild card position. That's where we all thought the Devils would be. Not with almost 100 points, and they will get 100 points by the time the season is up. So let's get to some score predictions. Sean had 4-3. Well, you get the OTL. Oh, no, you don't. Never mind. Damn, Sean. Close. Are we tanking for Bedard? Little late for that right now. Yeah.
We don't have a pick. How can we be tanking?
Yeah. We don't have a pick to tank for.
Yeah.
No, we are second, but like we said, we are second in the Metro, but the the Rangers are winning here. And the Hurricanes won, so we got to keep an eye on that as well. We still have a pretty comfortable lead though. It's not dire straits over here. But another game against Tampa Bay tomorrow, who, we only got 1 point out of 4 against in these last two. So let's see the Devils, much like Tampa Bay, used it as a little playoff test to play against us, 2 games in a row at home. Let's use tomorrow's game as a playoff test as well. Okay, you lost the first one on the road in a bad fashion here. You're still down in Florida, so use these 2 games as a little playoff test as well. Say you're starting off on the road. You had a great game from Akira Schmid, but a 2.5 minute sequence is what cost you the game. All right, you got another game tomorrow night down there in Florida. Let's use this as a little playoff thing. How do you bounce back? If you lose a game 1, let's see how you bounce back. Let's go, boys. Let's put this together. Sam Wu, what did you have for your score prediction today?
4-2 Devils.
You had 4-2 Devils, all just like Selecta over here. Okay, so
Had it reversed.
Yeah, both of you guys have it reversed. No points today. Daryl, don't worry, Daryl. We're not missing the playoffs.
Yeah, I think Vinny had 5-3 Devils, if I'm not mistaken.
Vinny had 5-3 Devils? No. Anyone have the Cats maybe a 5-4 game or something like that? Or maybe a 2-1 Devils victory or anything? No? No one?
I thought Felix was going to get it because he had 3-0 Devils. So when the Devils were up 2-0, I was like,
close,
whoa,
Felix. Very close. Shane, don't worry. If Bedard goes to if he goes to Filthy, Tortorella will chase him out of there as soon as humanly possible. Don't you even worry about that.
He'll demand a trade to New Jersey.
Yeah. Oh, Ronaldo had 3-2. Oh, Devils with 3. Man, this is 2 games in a row here where we're all coming up short. Damn. Ronaldo had 3-2. Yeah. Don't worry, Ted. Carolina's 98, but we're at 95. 3 points is not like it can't be overcome in this amount of games. It's still in reach. It is 100% still in reach.
Besides, if you see Carolina's schedule starting next week, the next 2 weeks, it's a really tough schedule. We talked about this on the Woo Report, and I think they
play the Rags a couple times, right?
Yeah, they have like the 5th hardest schedule.
Really?
Yeah, I believe so. Down the stretch, read it somewhere. Let me check.
Come on, go to Carolina. How do I get to Carolina here on the?
Oh, don't worry, I got it. So they play.
You got it.
They play the Rangers on Tuesday. Then they play the Rangers again on Thursday. Then they have Toronto on that Saturday.
And then
Boston on the second half of a back-to-back. Then they got to fly from no, then they don't fly. They're at home.
Against Tampa Bay.
Tampa. Then they got to play Detroit, which Detroit, you never know with them. Mm-hmm. So that's a tough stretch.
Then they got Montreal, who's been playing everyone tough as well.
Islanders.
And then the Islanders playoff push. Ottawa playoff push. Nashville, Buffalo, okay. But then Ottawa, Detroit, and then Florida. They got a tough schedule over here. And that Nashville, Buffalo, Ottawa, they got 4 out of their last 5 are on the road, too. Oof.
Yeah.
Oof. That is tough.
And the Devils' schedule, I mean, it's tough too, but let's see here. They play.
We got Minnesota on Tuesday,
which is going to be a tough game. Then they have Buffalo, Ottawa.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have the Islanders and Rangers to round out the month of March. Then it's Chicago, Winnipeg, Pittsburgh, Columbus, Boston, Buffalo, and Washington.
Okay, I mean, yeah, they got definitely some more quote-unquote easier games there. Yeah. With Chicago and Columbus, they got 2 at Buffalo, too, who, are pretty much at Washington as well, who probably should have it packed in by then, last game of the season. Where the hell is Buffalo? How far down are they? Yeah, they only got 72 points. Ottawa as well has only got 70. And they're caught up with games right now. Yep. Ottawa's got 68 games played. I mean, the Islanders are still ahead of everyone there with games with 70, but the Pens the Islanders and the Pens are both with 78 points right now. It's really Florida that's close. I mean, Washington's 5 points off, but they also have 70 games played. Buffalo's got 72. I mean, it's still there, but they would have to really start going on a run. Detroit, the same thing. They got 69 points. So, yeah, so the Devils have some games with some teams here that could essentially, by the time they play them, be out of it. Which, again, you can't take any team lightly. We all remember 3 weeks ago when they played Montreal at home, and Montreal beat them. Yeah. So no team can be taken lightly in the NHL. That's one amazing thing about this league is the parity and just, no team can be taken for granted as a W or an L.
Agreed.
You never know. Washington's got their studs. Buffalo's got the other Thompson. Ottawa's got the other Kachuk. So they all have their weapons there, but I would definitely say the Devils might have a little bit of an advantage there, schedule-wise. They're both tough. They both have some tough games, but yeah, these Carolina Ranger games are going to be huge next week. Because if the Rangers win today, like they probably should, I think they're up like 5 or 6-0 now. They will be 5 points behind us, and we will be even with games played. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But that's these 2 games are going to be huge. And the Devils play in Minnesota. And out west, Minnesota ain't no joke. They did lose, what's his name, though? Kaprizov. So that will limit their offensive side a little bit there. But still, Minnesota's going to come in hungry because they are sitting in the third position of the Central. They are tied with Colorado. Oh, they're only a point behind Dallas. So Colorado and Minnesota both have 86 points, and Dallas has got 87. Looking at the wild card, you got Seattle and Winnipeg. Seattle with 83 and Winnipeg with 81. And they're 5 points up. Winnipeg is 5 points up on Nashville, but Nashville's got 3 games in hand. So there's still a little life over there for the Preds as well. We shall see. It's going to be a fun stretch here. And it'll be let's hope it's not just a good learning experience for the Devils, but a good experience in general. Justin, we all agree. You just don't. We'll see. We shall see.
I'm not worried about it, Scotty. I think this is all good stuff.
I think it's good for.
I
yes,
think
the Devils are home. Ted, the Devils are home against Mini. I think it's all good learning for them. Yeah, I do. You know, and I don't remember who pointed it out before, but we're playing with house money. No one was expecting the Devils to be in this position that they are this year.
Yep.
But let's wrap this up because I know we're going a little long over here just chatting, which is fun. It's all good times, and we love to do that. But we are going to wrap this up because we're going to be back again tomorrow to do it all over again for you. The Devils taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning, hoping to avenge those defeats from earlier this week and take one from Tampa on their home ice this time. And like we said, let's use this as our own playoff test, boys. You just gotta, punch there in game 1. Game 2 tomorrow night. Let's see you counter and come back. You know exactly what Tampa Bay is going to do now to you. You play 2 games against them earlier in the week. Be ready. Be ready. Defense, be ready. No more sleepwalking through the games. You cannot be letting Kucherov or Braden Point or Stamkos alone behind you the way you did with Tkachuk today. Because that was the game winner and the difference in this game. And the difference of coming out with at least 1 point, if maybe you get held it tied, who knows what happens in overtime. But that's the difference between 1 point and no points in crunch time. So let's go. Game 2 tomorrow night. Give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair. Woo! We'll be back to talk about it tomorrow here on the Let's Go Devils Podcast Network. I think Sam will probably be along earlier in the day with a Woo report if he's got some time. But Vinny Parisi and Sam will be along for a Game Day Live edition, a Sunday edition for Devils versus Lightning, starting at, 6 p.m. Eastern Time? I think it's a 7 o'clock start tomorrow.
7 o'clock start.
All right, and then we might have the Ultimate Edition, like Batman versus Superman, the Ultimate Edition, the Snyder Cut, of Devils After Dark tomorrow, possibly with Shorts Guy and Beer Baron. We may have a big old Happy Family Jubilee, like the old show there with Mr. Johnny Knoxville and his cousin Roger Allen Wade. So we're gonna have a big one tomorrow, hopefully, and hopefully we're talking about a W.
Yeah,
I'd love to see everyone back there. From at JP, yes, I would assume that Vasilevsky is starting every game against these teams like that. So, but thank you everyone on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch. Turn it over to Mr. Sam Wu for the final goodbyes.
Thank you all those listening in, dropping the podcast at midnight. We'll be back tomorrow. Till next time, let's go Devils.